Hello, and welcome. Now, I know you're here for the ultimate gen rushing build, and I'm here to give it to you. But before we get started, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss awesome horror and DVD content from me again. So I created this gen rushing build last chapter release, which was Project W, because I wanted something hyper-focus would work well with. And I loved it, but it was only 3 perks that were really for generators. The last one I was using distortion, just so I could get around the map easier. I also found at the time that there was a lot of killers using aura reading perks like Awakened Awareness and Barbecue and Chili, so I found it pretty useful. It just wasn't exactly what I wanted. It wasn't the ultimate gen rushing build. So, behavior answered my prayers and blessed me with this beautiful creature named Vittorio. Vittorio is the most recent survivor release from the Forged and Fogged chapter. One of his perks, Potential Energy, ended up being exactly what my build needed. It also happens to counter 2 killer perks that didn't previously have a counter. So stick around until the end to find out which ones. Let's look at the ultimate gen rushing build. I'm using Prove Thyself, which gives a progress bonus to survivors within 4 meters of me that helps the gen get done faster when someone is around. It also plays into Potential Energy, which I will explain in a moment. Next we have Stakeout, which gives tokens when you're in the terror radius of the killer, but not being chased. Those tokens convert good skill checks into great ones. We also have Hyper Focus here, and that gives you progression speed as well as increased skill checks that stack into tokens when you hit a great skill check. So obviously, Stakeout and Hyper Focus work very well together. And the final piece of the build is, of course, Potential Energy, which allows you to stop your own progress on a generator while still on it, and lets you store progress tokens up to 20, which you can then either use on that generator or another one, as long as you don't lose them by being hit. So I think you can see how all of this works together, but let me break it down for you a little bit better. Hyperfocus gains more tokens the more stakeout tokens you have, which increases your gen progressing speed. The only downside to this is the skill checks can get a little hard to hit when you have a full stack. Prove Thyself is a nice perk on its own, but I'm using it to 1. Speed up generator progression when someone is working on a gen with me, and 2. To still have progress happening on the gen with the increased speed, as long as another survivor stays on the generator while I'm charging my potential energy stacks and not making progress on the generator myself. And then we have Potential Energy, which its only use is generators, and I think a lot of people are confused by this perk, but it's actually pretty awesome. So one way you can use it, which I often do, is store the tokens for the next generator, because the one you're on at the moment might be a more safe option, and you have the opportunity to save those tokens for progress on the next generator, which might not be as safe of an option, or the killer just might not be as busy in those moments after. The second way you can use it is to store the progress while it's safe, and then if the killer starts heading your way, drop the progress back into that same generator to either finish it quickly or to get it closer to being done without losing the progress tokens by being hit. And the third way is to counter a couple of killer perks like Merciless Storm, which you can actually completely bypass by using your progress tokens at the end of the generator before Merciless starts. And Tinkerer. Now, it doesn't stop Tinkerer from happening. The killer still gets the notification and loses their terror radius, but in testing it out, you can usually finish the gen and leave or gain enough distance before they make it to you. Since the big update with all the perk changes and base pop being added with increased time needed to complete generators, I actually find that this build helps counter a lot of these changes. Since that update, I've had a good percentage of the killers I face using complete gen slowdown perk builds, and this is a nice way to counter that. A generator normally takes roughly 90 seconds to complete. This isn't accounting for perks from survivors or killers, skill checks, or being interrupted. I wanted to see how fast I could do 2 generators, so I tested this out a few times and played some solo queue games. The fastest I've been able to complete 2 generators is 1 minute and 42 seconds, which isn't bad at all. That basically means you can pop 2 gens in the first couple minutes of the game by yourself. To achieve this, I did use a Commodious toolbox, which is one of the green ones, because it has more charges than the purple toolbox with 100% speed, but also it still has a 50% repair speed. I added more speed onto that with the yellow 30% speed add-on and a brand new part. If I had been getting any use out of Prove Thyself, with the help of another survivor or two, these generators actually could be done in less time, making this build top tier gen rushing. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the fog.